We're live. We did it. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome. It's Christmas here at the shop.
It is. I just got back in town from Louisville, Kentucky that I almost ruined the surprise last week. If you saw me stumble, I was like, oh, I just gave away the surprise. But I went up to see my family and I'm back and I'm ready to have some fun. It's official. I put the reindeer ears on.
Yep.
I'm missing mine.
Oh, you are. That's
What
right.
happened to
There you
yours?
There you go.
You're the one that talked me into wearing it.
That's nice. Clever move, Maria. By the way, this is Maria Ward. You've probably seen her around the shop. But just in case, that's Maria. And this is Joann, and I'm Joshua. And
Hi.
This is officially Quilt Talk, Episode 2.
Episode 2.
And we're trying to get in the Christmas spirit. We started with a joke last week. And you didn't want to do that again?
No, I came up with something different.
Well, let's set it off with this. It was cute. I like the concept, the idea.
Okay. So, I saw this thing that I thought was really neat, and it said and you may remember the old saying that behind every great man is a great woman. But this is a little takeoff on that, and it says behind every great quilter is, and you can come up with your own finishing idea there. It can be a supportive husband, a big pile of fabric, in my house, a pile of unwashed dishes, a good teacher, a fun and inspiring quilt store. All those things just make a great, are some of the things that feed into being a good quilter. And we would love to hear what you think is behind a good quilter. So if you have an idea or a comment, send it in.
I like that. Behind every quilter is fill in the blank.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. And I'm trying to make sure I can see any comments here. So please let us know. Make sure you can hear us. But if you have questions, we want you to interact. I said it last time, but that's what's going to make this fun, I think. So I'll get this set up. So behind every quilt, do you have an answer for yours already, or you kind of just gave yours?
I just did it. The supportive husband, and my husband is the sort who, when we're traveling, he will actually stop at quilt stores. In fact, I've been reading or doing something in the car where I'm not really paying attention, and he'll say, "There's a quilt store. You want to stop?" And so he is very supportive that way. And
we hear that a lot, actually. Oh, hey, it's our first time here. While we were driving, my husband looked up.
Yeah.
What a segue.
Oh, great idea.
This is fantastic. So just got this in the mail. We are officially in the Needle Travel Guide book, which is awesome. I remember signing up for this a while back, and the book showed up. That's really exciting. So if you're not familiar with this, Marie, you said you had one.
Yes, it's a great book. It gives you all the quilt shops all over the United States. So everywhere you're going, you could just look at the state, and it tells you where the quilt shops are and when they're open and their telephone number, addresses, everything. So come on in, get one.
Okay, fantastic. I like to be a part of these books. And right below it is introducing Shop Hopper. I'm not sure what that is, other than the fact that I assume it's literally a guide to where shop hops are happening.
Introducing needle travel. I don't know. There's a magazine that always features several shops throughout the United States every 3 months, I think.
Maybe that's what it is.
Right.
Anyway, awesome. We have them in stock, and we're in it. It's official. We're moving up in the world. I love it. And speaking of shop hops, before Maria gets into the notion of the week, do not forget, you guys, and our quilt's in the other room. I should have probably hung it up for this. We can do that next week. The Northeast Florida Shop Hop is happening, and I can't believe it's almost 2023, January 14th through Saturday the 21st. This is exciting. So if you haven't signed up, we do have the, what do you call them? Passports here in the shop for $7, I think.
And I think one of the really neat things is each shop has I don't know if you can see them. You probably can't, but these are different pictures from the areas where the shop is. And for Cut Up and Sew, I think it's the Flagler Beach Pier, which I thought was really important to have because that pier may or may not be there. And but there's
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, wow.
and then there's for Palatka they have that bridge that goes over the St. Johns River, which is such a pretty bridge. So, and there's just really pretty. It's the first time I've actually looked at these and thought, oh, I'd really like some of those.
Yeah, it's really, I love the idea that everybody took their own picture and then they turned it into fabric that you'll never be able to get again. Exclusive.
That's right.
It's awesome.
It'll be fun.
I'm excited about this one. So call if you have any questions.
They're $7.
It's $7. I thought I said that. Okay, the passports are $7.
Now, when you get the passport, do you get this, or is this over and above that?
Do you get what?
The picture for your shop.
So when you go to each shop, you will get the block from that shop.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, so we will have the Flagler Pier blocks. And so at the end, you'll have the blocks from all the shops, which is really cool. And this one's not bad. I know some shop hops, like the All Florida Shop Hop, which is coming up later next year, March-ish. Don't quote me on that. This is doable. It's not that far to drive. You know what I mean?
Right.
The All Florida Shop Hop is a lot. It's a lot of driving. But this is doable. And there's really nice shops here. So I'm excited about this.
When my husband and I just moved here just over a year ago, and this shop hop took place about 2 or 3 weeks after we got here. And my friend and I went on the shop hop, and that's how I found out about all the stores that are around. And it was a great introduction to Florida for me.
Welcome to Florida.
Welcome to Florida.
That's right.
Land of quilters.
Awesome. Okay, so every week, I'm going to hand this to Maria. We're going to choose a notion of the week or an item of the week, because it's not necessarily going to be a notion. And Maria had picked a handful of notions out for me, and I love these, and I said, let's do that this week. So what do we got?
Okay, so this is called cleaning brushes. And it's a little tiny, it looks like a little Q-tip, to be honest with you. I don't know if you can see it, but it's very, very tiny.
It's teeny, teeny, tiny.
And one of the uses for this machine, for this little notion, is that when you're done sewing and doing whatever it is that you're doing in your machine, as far as like cotton or batting or whatever, inside your machine it gets old, dusty, and full of stuff. So when you remove that bobbin case, you kind of sit there and you go, oh my gosh, how am I going to clean this? So these little tiny Q-tips, that I call them Q-tips, are perfect because it lets you go into all the little crevices and little holes that your machine may have stuff in it. So you'll be surprised how much stuff this little Q-tip will pick up. And that way you can keep your machine nice and clean and really in good working condition. Needless to say, you still have to bring it in once a year, but at least this will keep it clean every time you finish sewing.
Yeah, I see people using the normal Q-tips that you clean your ears with, but that stuff, you're creating more fuzz half of the time inside your bobbin area because you're cleaning like a mad person, and it's literally falling apart. These things are awesome, and because they're so small, you can literally get into all those teeny tiny crevices, and I mean, these are awesome. Are you familiar with these?
I am, and I think one of the things I really appreciate is that it makes such a big difference when your machine gets all clogged with lint and dust in and around the bobbin case. It makes a huge difference in how you sew and how your machine works, just by cleaning that out.
Yes, we don't tell you to clean your machines for us. That's, I mean, literally, these things are working really hard and really fast, and there's a lot of moving parts, and you're creating dust constantly. You have to clean your machine. So instead of only cleaning it when you bring it into us once a year, get you some of these because they're awesome.
They're called cleaning brushes. They come in all different colors, or 3-4.
They have
colors.
some non-colorful ones, but why would we get those?
And they are great.
We like color around here.
And by the way, once you're done with it, you can just throw it out. You don't need to keep them.
Yeah, and they don't break the bank.
No.
I mean, you get plenty of them for the cost. So stay tuned, and I'll probably give one of these away a little bit later. So I don't know. We'll see. I wanted to make sure I was saying hello to. Good morning, Allison, Deanna, Debbie, Donna, A lot of UFOs. Allison commented that a while back, and I missed
UFOs.
it. That's good.
She's absolutely right.
That's good. Okay, so Maria, you are more than welcome to hang out with us, but we'll take no offense if you leave.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I figured I wanted to give her an escape option. That was good. Slide out.
Slide out.
Awesome. Okay, and I'll scoot over. Classes this week. Well, classes in general. So I think I mentioned it. We've been it's holiday time, so we've slowed down on the amount of classes that we're offering on a weekly, daily basis. Honestly, because people weren't signing up. Mm-hmm. I get it. You got family and lives. But December 17th is probably the most requested class since I've been here. And that is an IQ Design Education class. I could not get a Baby Lock educator to be here in person, but on the TV was right behind second best. So I jumped on it. So on December the 17th, it's an IQ Design class. And there's 2 sessions. So the first session is for people who do not own Solaris machines. So your Destinies, Meridians, Altair. Any machine that has IQ Design that's not a Solaris is session 1. And in the afternoon is all of the Solaris owners. So it is not full, but it's getting close. So if you're interested, please register ASAP. Give us a call if you have questions and you don't want to do it on the website, cutupandsew.com. But or you can just go to cutupandsew.com and register. But I would do that sooner than later because it is going to fill up. Because these are huge machines and our classroom is only so big. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to offer it to 20 people or so. We just can't do it.
Now, do they bring their machines?
Yeah, that is the only downfall, but I put in the description, call ahead, we will gladly come to your car and bring in your machine, because they're humongous. And most people, I don't recommend traveling with Solaris and these huge machines, because they're big and they're heavy. But we want you to learn on your machine. What if there's a setting that, that you've set on, if you use one of our machines, that will do no good for you at home. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And we still have like beginner sewing classes and some other things, but do pay attention to January's calendar because we're going to blow that thing up. We're going to have a lot of classes, especially starting at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
All right, looking at my cheat sheet here. Oh, sales this month. I guess I should tell them about that. Yeah. It's Christmas time. We've got our silly reindeer hats and elf hat, I guess, on. So 25% off all Christmas fabric until the end of the year. Well, I think I said till the 23rd. I lied.
You mean so that last minute sewer will not get her fabric at 25%
for
off?
Christmas fabric. Now, you all know me. I bet you if you came in on, December the 26th and said, "Can I get the deal?" I doubt I'm gonna say no. But for advertising purposes, we did say I think until December 23rd, and then 20% off all notions up until Christmas as well, because those make awesome stocking stuffers.
Yes,
stocking stuffers, for example. I'm like cruising through this. Am I going too fast? I feel like I'm going at light speed here.
Well, you've covered a lot of area right now.
I know. Am I missing anybody? Gosh, I don't have this set up right to where I can see. Debbie said thank you. That's the only thing I missed. And I'll get back to you on mine. I'll have to noodle on mine.
Okay.
My response to that.
Okay.
So I've got a few other things that we'll talk about in a little bit, but what kind of fun stuff did you bring?
Well, a friend of mine said, we were talking about, this particular format, and we were talking about things that you could talk about. And she said, I think you should talk about salvages. And I looked at her like, why? And she said, because it's a big thing. And so I looked up salvages on the internet, and I started researching them a little bit. And I came up with some interesting information on it. The first thing is salvages is spelled 2 different ways. If you're in the United States, it's spelled SELVAGE. But if you're in Britain and you speak British English, then it's spelled SELVEDGE. Don't ask me why. I know that the Americans tend to consolidate things, so I guess that's why we've done that. But whatever it is, it's SE. It starts with SEL, and it actually means self-finished, which means the edges of your quilt, of your fabric, are always finished in such a way that they're not going to unravel or fray.
That makes sense. And I think it's, if you're in the UK, it's English, and here it's American English because we've kind of butchered it.
Exactly. It's right. We've made it easier.
Absolutely.
We don't talk with funny accents.
I taught English, and it was the hardest because they wanted to learn the local language. Our slang is really tough to explain to people.
I bet it is.
It was unbelievable.
I bet it's even harder now.
Yeah, probably. Sorry, I digress.
So then on the edge of your fabric, and this one is actually the best fabric to show it on because it has everything on it, but it doesn't, but it's hard to see it. So I will,
Probably.
so the interesting thing on this particular piece of fabric is it even gives laundry instructions for it. So it has these little, down at the bottom, it has little icons that tell you that you can wash it. It tells that you can iron it.
I've never noticed that before, so I'm going to actually...
Well, it was hard to come by, and actually your fabric is the only one that that I found it on. And so it means that you can machine wash it, you can...
That's something. I never knew that. And I've seen that on a handful.
Oh, good. Okay, so it is there. You can iron it. I can't... And I have this little chart here that tells me what all these icons mean. And you can tumble dry it. It says that you cannot bleach it, and you shouldn't dry clean it. So all those things, all that information, all that information is right here on the bottom. Then it also gives you the name of the fabric line. So this fabric line is Shimmer Radiance, and it says that on the bottom. And it gives you a SKU number so that if you should happen to want to buy it again, and let's say you bought this fabric from Josh and you come back and he's out of it because Joann bought it all, and
which happens.
Which happens. You can take this SKU number plus the manufacturer and you can find the fabric again, usually on Etsy, as a matter of fact. It tells you that it's 100% cotton. It tells you who the designer of the fabric is and who the maker is and their website. So this was a piece of fabric that pretty much had everything on it that you could imagine. Now, some other fabrics.
Real quick, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask the dumb questions here, but I get asked, maybe it's actually not a dumb question, because I get asked this quite often, for especially new quilters. They buy the fabric and they go, do I need to wash this before I go home and sew it? Is it a personal preference?
It's a personal preference. Okay. The reasons for washing it before is there are chemicals in your fabric, and when you get it, and when you wash it, you wash those chemicals out. It also pre-shrinks it, and it also checks to make sure that it doesn't run. Now, my problem with the whole washing thing is that if you come to a class and you look at the fabric you've got and it's not what you want, and you run out in the store and you say, oh, I'll use this instead, then all your fabric that you've brought with you is washed, and what you're buying here is not. And so you don't want to mix your fabrics as far as whether it's washed or not. So, it really becomes a personal preference. I know people who, they bring their fabric home, and before it even goes in the sewing room, it goes in the washing machine. And then I know people like me who fold my fabric while I'm in the store, so it's perfect to go right in my shelf, and it goes directly in the shelf. So,
it sits there until...
For years, sometimes. Another thing that's on the salvage are these little dots, and these little dots show you the colors that are in the particular piece of fabric, and that will help you if you're looking for fabric to go with it. That will help you find fabric that may complement what you're working with.
Yeah. Good morning, Ruth. That's really cool. And some of the collections, and people obviously think about this, they actually make really cool selvages.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. So this one here, this is a fabric line by Kansas Troubles, and they have little sayings on the bottom of it. So they have all the information that I just said, but also there's a little saying that says, life is short and it's up to you to make it sweet. So that's right on the bottom. So there are things like,
That's cute.
there are things like that you could take, and if you're going to do a label for the back of your quilt, you could just cut that and put it in your label and make it part of your label so that it's not going to waste. This is this particular one is a Halloween fabric, and this fabric says at the bottom of it, we all have a little magic inside of it, and the color dots, instead of being little dots, are little cats. So there's a
J.K. Rowling quote, I guess.
I think it is.
Cute.
I think it is.
Awesome.
This is one that I decided I was going to use in a label on a quilt that I used a lot of this fabric in, and I'll just make this part of these little maple leaves part of the label. This is a fabric that I really liked, and it was named Florida. So I think when you have things that you connect with, you should just buy the fabrics.
This collection is insane. I love this.
Yes.
Yeah, and look at that selvage. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but how cool. I think people should use the selvage in quilts.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's got a lot of wording and some things that wouldn't look necessarily pretty, but I mean, it would be cool to see people incorporate, and I'm sure people do incorporate selvage plenty.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that you can look for. This particular fabric has all the information on it, and this one also says it has the fabric name, which is Moody Bloom, and then it also says Her Garden on it. So there's just all sorts of things that you can start to incorporate into some of your own work. So once I started doing that, I started finding little things that you could do with your salvages, because honestly, I don't want to make a quilt out of salvages. But I did find this, which I thought was really fun. It's a little stocking.
Here you go. I'll do this again.
And
how friggin' cute is that?
And so I thought I'd just kind of outline for you how that's made.
The only thing I don't like about this is that it says Joann fabric, but it's
name.
Joann,
No,
so I'm okay with it.
It's me. So
Oh, it actually says designed exclusively for Joann. I take that all back. That was obviously intentional. That's great.
With having a name like Joann, I walk around Joann's and look at their signs and keep thinking, I wish I could get one of their signs.
That's that's good.
So
That's really cute.
So anyway, to make this little stocking, what I did was I took a piece of fusible, and you could take a piece of shape flex, and you just draw your design on it. You design, and let's say you actually want to make fabric out of it, so you would do a rectangle or something. But I wanted to make a stocking, so I drew the shape of the stocking here on the shape flex. And then at the very bottom, and you can see here, the very bottom, I just put a piece of fabric, a plain piece of fabric, so that I wouldn't be wasting my salvages on the bottom portion that's going to be covered by either a binding or turning it. So I did that. I also put some lines here so that I knew that when I placed the salvage on there, that the salvage would all be going in the same direction, and it wouldn't veer off and start angling in an odd way. So you make your design, and then you put your bottom piece on, and then you can start layering your salvages. And so let's say you put this on, and this little piece of salvage says Fabric for Dreamers, which I really liked. So you can put that there and kind of line it up with one of your lines. And when you cut your salvage, you want to cut it with, so this is a great example. So you can see the brown strip here, and the brown strip is the actual salvage piece. You need to cut at least 1/4 inch past that, so you have a seam allowance. And I like to cut 3/4 inch, so I have you can see a little bit of the fabric in between each one. So we have it placed here, and because you've got that fusible, you can press it in place so that it will stay there while you put your next piece on. And you just keep layering them. You start at the bottom and you work up towards the top, and each layer you can press it as it goes on. You just want to make sure your iron doesn't go on the fusible portion. Okay. Once you've got it all in place, you can trim around. You can look at the back, and you'll be able to see the design on the back. you just trim around the back.
That's the back, and you can totally see through it.
And then you also want to sew. And what you're going to do is you're going to sew an 1/8 of an inch past the edge of your selvage. And you've got a little bit of some selvages have a little fringe on it, and some of them are straight. If you're doing one of the fringe ones, you want to make sure you're past the fringe. And if you're wondering, how do I know an 1/8 of an inch? I'm having a hard enough time with a 1/4 of an inch. If you look at your 1/4 of an inch foot, the inside of that foot gives you an 1/8 of an inch. So you would just put your foot along the edge.
Good morning, Christy, Jan, Val.
Well, it was here. I don't know where it went. I'm sorry. I had a foot I was going to show you, but you would just put your fabric right along the inner edge of the foot instead of the outer edge.
Of a 1/4 inch foot? Just a standard, okay. That makes sense.
So then once you've done that, you take a couple of pieces of muslin or something, you make a little lining for it and line it, and then you put your backing on. And so my backing is this one. Put your backing on, sew it all around, and you've got a little Christmas stocking.
With really cute sayings.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So, and
Ta-da!
ta-da.
That's great. And very easy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, how cool. I wonder, and I'm curious, do most people just throw away their selvage?
I did until I did this.
Did you?
Although a good practical reason for salvages is saving it. If you, let's say you're working on a quilt and you have 5 fabrics that you're using in that quilt, one of the things that you can do is save your salvages so that, let's say you run out of fabric, like we talked about before, can't find it, then you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's like a name tag for it. Yeah, okay. Well, I was wondering if they intentionally, depending on, I guess, the direction, did you save it and use that for seam allowance ever? I mean, is that...
No, salvages, I don't like to, and this is probably the reason why I won't put them in a quilt, is your salvage is actually, the weave on the salvage is very tight. So that's going to shrink at a different rate than the rest of your fabric. So I don't know if they're doing it differently now with all this and everybody doing using it for different things in their quilt, but that has always been my
I doubt it. And if you hold fast, you can feel one has some play and one way does not. I mean, so that makes sense to me, actually.
Cool. So anyway, that's my thing for today.
Awesome. That's her thing for today. Well, good morning. Did I miss anybody? Hold on. Marilee. Good morning. Very interesting. I'll have to pay more attention to the salvage now.
Yeah, there's some cute ones out there.
Look at that. Yeah, there really is, actually. And it's hilarious that I'm like, oh, I don't like the Joanns. And then all of a sudden I realize, how clever are you? Foot, insert foot, mouth. But before, you had mentioned, and I think somebody had even said to you that we didn't talk about the quilts behind us last week. So... obviously, we put a new one up. It's gorgeous. It's Christmas time. But Joann, you did this one as well.
Yeah.
Is there any particular reason other than it's seasonal that you brought this one today, or?
I just like this one.
Okay. I like it too.
It's just very Christmassy. It's very traditional Christmassy, and I like that. The pattern is you can go on Pinterest and you can look up Christmas present boxes quilts. I think it was Christmas present boxes quilts. Yeah. And you can find couple of different free patterns for this particular quilt, and so it's easily accessible. It's pretty quick and easy to make. It's just fun. This week's plug for AccuQuilt. These are all flying geese, and all the flying geese were cut with the AccuQuilt cube. All the 2.5-inch strips were cut with the AccuQuilt strip cutter. So
fantastic. And we didn't bring any AccuQuilt stuff over, but you've heard me talk about it, and we talked about it last week. We've got a much larger selection, and if there's something that you want we don't have, please call us. But I would look around online and find out what kind of deals AccuQuilt's got going on, because it is Christmas time and they go crazy.
Yeah,
so.
it's
and we
the
price
best time
match
to
all
buy
of it.
them.
So yeah, don't hesitate. I love this.
And then this quilt
yeah.
is just a great neutral quilt. It's very. It looks like it's. I didn't make this.
Tony, who was here last week with us, made this one.
And it's very pretty. And she's just chosen a lot of neutral fabrics, some real rectangles, and just a beautiful quilting pattern on it as well.
So this is, and the reason that Tony let me borrow this, thanks Tony, shout out, is because it's the art gallery collection that I do have, and she goes, I have a quilt made of the entire collection, and I'm obsessed with art gallery. Most of you probably know that, and I love this line because it is. I've never seen something done because it is neutral, but it's so pretty. It's very like elegant, and I love the contrast of your quilts next to it as well. So it may stay up forever. We never see. We never know.
And that art gallery fabric just has a wonderful feel to it when you touch it. It's beautiful fabric.
Yeah, the hand on art gallery is awesome. And they're right here in Florida. Christy, I have 2.5 yards of selvages. Now I know what to do with them. Boom. Look at that.
There you go.
We're solving problems daily here at Jonathan. But before we run, Maria was supposed to talk about this because they did this while I was on vacation playing. Buy 10, get 2 free. What they've done is they've paired fat quarters that obviously match and go really well together. And these are all over the store, and you get this sweet little deal, but they've done the hard part and picked out all the matching fabric for you. It's probably kind of hard to see via the camera, but yeah, I know. I walked in, she told me a little bit about it, and I walked in, I was like, these are great. So Maria got off the hook, but these are everywhere, and these are awesome. Notion. So this just came to me. If the first person, I better get this ready, to spell salvage the American way in the comments gets a free pack of cleaning brushes. I was seeing if there was a fancy name, and it's not. Quilt in a day, sewing machine cleaning brush. The American way, though. We're not going to go back and tell you what that is, but we'll see. So
okay.
That's how we give these away. I'm going to just make it up each week, I think.
Okay.
Instead of, you all right with that? Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
All right. Is there anything we didn't cover? I feel like it's Christmas time. You guys are all, busy hanging out with family, but stop by the store. We've got it all decorated. Santa's up. The tree is up. We're having fun. Either nobody's paying attention or they don't know how to spell it. And they're Googling. If you're smart, you would Google if you didn't watch from the beginning and make notes. So
didn't realize you had to take notes for this, did you?
I know, right? Mary Lee got it. Selvage, spelled correctly. Oh, Allison, you were right. Oh, Selvage. That is the correct American way to spell it. Mary Lee, let me make sure that yep, you were the first one. Everybody was paying attention. Oh, Deanna. Close but no cigar. But anyway, Mary Lee, you won. Give us a call. I should have your information in there. But this will be here at the shop for us. If you can't get in, just call me and we'll make it happen. We'll figure it out. Congrats.
Okay. Are we done?
I think we're done.
Okay.
I feel like that was really short and sweet. Maybe not, though.
I don't know.
I covered a lot at the beginning. I just got back and I was looking at the store and I had so much in my mind going on. I'm excited. So everybody thinks I'm like a Grinch with Christmas because I'm so big into Halloween.
Oh,
Not
I see.
the case. I just don't talk about Christmas until Halloween is over.
As it should be.
Amen, right? So I love Christmas, and I'm definitely in the Christmas spirit, and we're going to have some fun. So I'm excited for the next couple of weeks. We will be closed on Christmas Day, obviously, and I believe Christmas Eve, unless I hear another reason to not be. I have a feeling everybody's going to be busy. But other than that, we're going to be here.
And the Monday after Christmas? So Christmas is on Sunday, so Saturday is probably closed. Sunday is closed. How about Monday?
We will be here, most likely.
Okay. All right. There you go.
I don't, it's one of those things, being the shop owner, I guess technically I forget that I get to make those choices. I'm like,
right.
Geez, I got to think about that. Truthfully, I will be here every day, and if it's slow and I realize that, nobody's going to come in today, I'll put a sign in the door and we'll leave early. And I do try to, I know that's kind of wish-washy for people who are going to maybe make a trip in, so I try to put it on Facebook and stuff like that. And it's on our website when we do close for sure ahead of time. But I won't ever close until, the afternoon. So.
Okay.
Well, I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to join next week?
Uh-huh.
Are you in town?
As long as I can figure out what I have to talk about.
You have so much to talk about, but I know, right? You've got a short little time span. What can we throw together? All right, let me make sure I didn't ignore anyone. Mary Lee says, "Yay, fantastic!" Jean Ann, welcome. Now we're leaving, but you can always go back and watch this from the beginning. Okay, you guys have an amazing day. Joann, thanks for coming and giving us your knowledge as usual.
Oh, you're welcome.
This
And
is
thank
fun.
you all for coming.
Yeah, and by the way, if you have ideas or things that you would like us to cover, please comment here, call us, reach out. We are all ears because we do want this to be an interactive. It's what, we gonna take a hat off?
I was going to say all ears, but this is a hat.
All ears. These aren't ears either, though. We don't have any ears on. All ears. All right, awesome. You guys have an amazing day. We'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
I need to get a remote for this. See, now every time I got to walk up here and look all goofy in the camera.